All right. Good evening and welcome, everybody. We've got a special surprise lined up for everybody. It's Wednesday. What is it? The 11th, the 9th of November. Our Tasting Panel Experience #2 release will be hitting the shelf tomorrow. A U.S. exclusive cask. This is one of those casks that U.S. members had a role in choosing. And tonight we decided to bring in three active members, I would say, of the SMWS, and take a look at this whiskey with them. And from New York, he was at the event that chose this Tasting Panel #2 bottle. Some of you may know him, Max Kruger. In corner #1, Max Kruger. Ding, 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 ding.
It's very nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited. This was definitely a whiskey that everybody was excited about at the panel. So to be able to try it again and get my hands on a bottle a little bit early is a real treat for me.
Yeah. And like I said, we were talking about active members, people, that are buying bottles, people that are tuning in on YouTube, people on Discord. And then we heard your name when you was mentioned that you was also at the event for this one. So I said, we got to try to get Max on here, and you were available. And so here you are. But thank you for joining us.
Very welcome. I really appreciate the invitation. It should be a good time.
Yeah. And I'm going to appreciate, and everybody will, your insight, as far as how the event went and actually having a role in choosing this particular cask.
For sure.
Yeah. And corner #2 from New York also. She's a big Dirta fan. For those tuning in, deep, rich, and dried fruits. She calls me all the time, wants to know what I recommend. She buys a lot of them. Kim Michael.
Hey.
Kim, you're active on YouTube as well. KLG223 on YouTube and Discord. Is that your Discord handle as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Max, I forgot your Max2068 on YouTube and Discord.
Yep. Gotta represent the old high school locker number somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Kim, would you say is deep, rich, and dried fruits a favorite? Your favorite?
It's definitely a favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have the favorite.
Yeah.
There's probably like 2 or 3 that are in the favorite category.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's always nice just to try different whiskeys. And I'm continuously surprised just by different whiskeys, and different flavor profiles as well. Maybe it's a profile you haven't had for a while or something, and one pops up, and you're just like, all right, I'm back. I'm a big fan of this profile now.
I bet you if I looked at my inventory, I might have the most of this one.
Yeah. And of course, yeah, DRDF being coined the term for deep, rich, and dried fruits, DRDF.
Well, I'm waiting for the shirt. #DRDF.
Oh, yeah. And our third guest tonight, an SMWS member from Portland, Oregon. He's the host of the Dram Face podcast. He tunes in on YouTube. And are you on? I don't know if he's on Discord or not, but YouTube, you see him commenting as time for a dram. Gregor McWee from Portland.
Howdy, Scott. How's it going, Tim? Max?
You're also our official Scottish voice tonight.
Yeah, whatever I say, I think, carries some gravitas and authority, right? Just by the accent alone.
Yep. I said people watching, they'll be like, okay, we got Kansas, we got New York, and where's this guy from? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, originally from Edinburgh, Scotland, but I've been in Portland for 7 years now, yeah.
Uh-huh. But 3 members here, and this should be the first time. We hope to do this again in the future, have more members on, bring people in and just kind of introduce them to the community as well. And you guys are very active, like I said. So it's kind of a thank you, to you guys as well. And I'm looking forward to getting into our bottle tonight and then also talking about the event as well and getting a little insight on that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, yep. Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
Let's go through a little bit of a roll call here. See all who is tuning in. And Tom R. is here. Mamuka 1977. Stewart of Butte. Dram Yankee. Time for a Dram is here. Gregor, welcome. George Kaplan. Sean Peak. The Whiskey Franco. Oil Tasters. That's a new one. I haven't seen Oil Tasters tune in before. Thanks for being here. Big Ed. C. Brown. I don't know if I've seen C. Brown before either. Duke McHale. Stephen Meadows, Dustin Ward, John Colleen, Dram Yankees, Bird Dog 2017, Warren Buff. KLG223 Kim is commenting. Welcome, Kim. Poor Andre Studios. Max Kruger's here and commenting as well. Joe Combs II. Not only are you participants in the stream, but your viewers. That helps boost the numbers.
It's all about the analytics.
We're so active. We're active within the stream. There's
So
Right.
meta.
inception, levels of inception.
Daniel Cleric is here, the Whiskey Franco and Northwoods Whiskey Nerds. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for tuning in. So let's get to our bottle. Let's turn on my banner here. See what is coming out tomorrow. And I'm going to have to figure out how to boost that, or get Gregor and Kim up a little bit here. I can do that.
Sit upright, Kim. Posture.
I got the winning. I get to showcase the logo as well as don't have to worry about the.
We don't have, Gregor, we don't have enough bottles behind us. So.
No, I know.
That is in the settings here. So I'll have to look for that and see if I can figure it out. And in the meantime, we'll just turn that on and off a little bit as we go. So we don't need to have that on all the time, hiding everybody. But let's pour it. So 15-year-old Speyside cask 39.223. It's in our deep, rich, and dried fruits profile. 15-year-old. We've got, 12 years in the ex-bourbon hogshead, 3 years in a first fill ex-Oloroso Spanish hogshead, 58% ABV. This will be available tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, by lottery. We'll send out an email, register with your email address. And the only thing I'd say is make sure you're using your email address that you're registered with your SMWS account under, because that's how everything comes back and forth. If you sign up for the lottery without your SMWS email, you show up as a non-member. So let's get some of this poured. I haven't got into this yet. I poured it. I've opened it. It's had some air. I poured another glass of it. And this is the first. I know at least one or two of you have tasted this already.
Yeah, it was a tough afternoon.
And I had a few months of lead time on this, but
oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, Max was at the event, and I think you even had your tasting sheets or your notes from the event still.
I do, and the only reason I do is because while I was tasting, I was also texting with George Kaplan, talking about how great the different drams were, and this one was the last pour of the night. And I thought that it was to the point where, since we had 5 pours before, we were all a little bit loose, and I was like, there cannot be another one that I'm willing to buy at the end of this. They can't all be winners, and they weren't. There were at least a few that were not, that the members that were at the tasting decided were not up to being packaged yet, or should be drain poured. There was one that was not well received
for being a US exclusive. Yeah.
Yep. So this was the last one of the night, and as part of the sheet, you get to suggest a name for it. And I believe what I had on this was just one more, and then I'm done. And the notes were, what I thought I could leave, but they pulled me right back. And I also have to express my thanks, because I believe it was George who put my name in the hat for the tasting as well. So I greatly appreciate him remembering me talking this dram up. I think I got him excited about it, and that benefits us all, because
GCAP may have had an opportunity to join in tonight, and he may have handed that opportunity off to you, Max.
It's good to have good friends. Hopefully he gets his chance soon. If we're gonna keep doing it, he's a great man's got a nose and a palate, and a very fine rabbit.
Yep. A lot of pictures of that rabbit.
This is so nice.
I really got a burnt wood, a toasted oak up front, all of the fruits that you expect, minty, kind of like a chocolate mint all over the nose.
not overly ethanolic. Like there's a little heat behind it, but it's not going to singe your nose hairs on it. I get a little bit of leather. Maybe like a touch of like leather and brass, the experience of sitting in like a club chair in a dark room.
So I was saying that I got a very Jenna note on this nose. It was the first time I've drank anything that I've wanted to say, this is what it smells like, but also while you're doing this activity. And to me, it was eating a candy bar, walking in a forest in the dead of winter. And I think that's like really kind of where that mintiness comes in, right?
Yeah.
That like briskness.
Yeah.
But there's definitely, and the two candy bars that occurred to me were like Snickers bar or like a Almond Joy. There's definitely nuts. There's definitely chocolate. Maybe a little bit of coconut, maybe a little caramel.
Oh, yeah,
definitely. I definitely agree on the lightness of the nose, right? I know we're saying it's deep and rich, but you're saying mint and you're saying forestry. It's not so stewed fruits, right? It's definitely on the lighter part of that spectrum.
I was thinking evergreen, but almost evergreenish slash pine tree, pine cone type note, almost Christmas tree. Whew. Yeah, but yes, sweeter, lighter. There's not a lot of like those dark Oloroso notes on it. It's more berries, fruits, minty, chocolates.
Like those the thick hedges that grow together from the multiple plants that have the tiny little red berries when you walk past those after they've been cut. I don't know what they're called.
Like a bramble bush?
Is that? I'm no horticulturist.
I think the fact it's 3 years in Oloroso might paint one picture, and this isn't heavy sherry. You can definitely pick up there's sherry in there, but it's I think it's quite a delicate sherry.
Did you say it was refill?
No, first fill.
First fill.
Yep. And we've had a couple of questions come in. I see people asking if this is a lottery bottle. Yeah, it'll be lottery. Let me turn it back on here real quick. I think there's 212 bottles available. $185. 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. The email should come out. Looking for harvesting your email to register for the lottery. Oops.
It's a great nose though. There's definite, there's a lot of complexity behind there.
Yeah, but I'd say it's not really that dark Oloroso
nose
that you would expect. It's sweeter.
I almost feel like the traditional Oloroso notes are like in the background, right? I feel like your first impression is like what Gregor was saying, like that lightness. But if you keep inhaling, that it's like like that caramelness kind of envelops that. I feel like it's a very layered nose.
I think it's, to me, I just took my first real deep breath on it. Like when I first start nosing a whiskey, usually they're shallow, just trying to get a little bit in the front, but then a deep lung filling breath, that's where I get the sherry on it. And I get a little bit of the brown sugar and prune or raisin, that sort of traditional note, but you have to really pull in.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point on that one. When I did that too, I got a little bit more.
Oh, I'm so excited to taste this.
All right, let's get in on the palate. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, Lanja.
Cheers.
Lanja. So good.
Oh, it's a good dram though. It's good dram.
Yeah. Wow. Woo. That's one where the nose isn't at the level that the palate is. I mean, the palate just explodes with fruits and sweetness.
Yeah.
Malt.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Oak. Trying to just suss out some of the different fruits that are in here, but very fruity, very sweet.
I get a little marmalade. A little bit of marmalade.
Orange? Orange
Yeah.
I
marmalade.
was gonna say like a chocolate orange, like one of those chocolate covered. You
The
know, when they do the
wax,
chocolate covered oranges, they're like candied. So they're still there. They keep the rind on. It's got a little bit of
Oh, yeah.
bitterness to it.
Yeah, the bitters there.
I thought you were talking about the ones where you whack it on the table and then the sections split open. The chocolate oranges.
Yeah, it's not Christmas without one of those, I have to say. But yeah, I get just that little bit of bitterness of the marmalade.
Wow. Yeah, it's
You're
still, that first sip is still kind of sitting on my palate.
You're right as well, though, Scott. The nose is maybe more delicate than the palate.
Yeah.
I think the palate dances around.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I also get a little bit of like a black cherry soda vibe. If anyone from New York, Max, you might be familiar with Dr. Brown's.
Oh, heck yeah. Grew up on Dr. Brown's.
Which is that the cherry cola?
It's like
But it's not the same as like a traditional cherry cola. It's its own thing. Maybe Max can explain it better than me.
Yeah, it's I don't remember where it started, but the four big flavors that they have is like a root beer, a cream soda, a black cherry, and celery. Celery soda. It's so weird. I don't know how to explain the experience to anybody because it's not like drinking a celery stalk, but you can, I mean, I don't know. That's something that there's got to be some good cocktails made with celery soda, but it's something that should be experienced. But Dr. Brown's it's on like a smaller scale. It's not a Coke or a Pepsi. And so I think that to me, there's like, it was a treat to get Dr. Brown's. So
they try to be kind of like retro sodas, like what sodas used to be in like the 50s, more like ice cream, parlor sodas. And they were and in New York, they sell a lot of Dr. Brown's at like Katz's and Second Avenue Deli and that kind of stuff.
As soon as you was talking about that, cherry Dr. Pepper came to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There was another note I was thinking as well, and then I forgot. It's a short trip.
So the notes that I had from the original post 5 whiskey tasting was expletive. I got to buy this. A little bit of cold smoke, syrup, and I actually got like umami notes out of it. Apparently, soy, fish sauce, and the feeling of sitting in a comfortable leather chair.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting you said cold smoke because I thought of a very Scott note, which was toast.
Yeah.
Toast, yeah.
Yeah. What I was thinking when you were talking celery, Bloody Mary came to mind, and I was thinking of like celery with more tomato juice, I think, and kind of spicy. But I think it's more of kind of like a vegetal kind of underlaying note with this. I mean, nice sweetness, nice fruits, nice brown sugars in there, and the syrup. Then kind of a little bit of an earthiness, a little bit of that celery stalk or tomato juice, kind of earthy vegetal note.
I think what's so beautiful about it is, to me, it's like the epitome of balanced, right? Like you get everything that's amazing about a Dirtiff, but it doesn't lose the spirit character. It doesn't lose the I don't mean strength in an ABV way, but the power that it has. It's not just overwhelmed by the cask. It's just this beautiful balance.
Yeah, I agree. I think often sherry can dominate, and I think you still get the distillery flavor profile here. You definitely are still getting the distillate come through, which is beautiful and quite hard to do when you get sherry involved.
Yeah. Yeah, and good point. I mean, when you take Distillery 39 and you think, more of that kind of lighter, fruitier, distillate, that Speyside, non-sherried note, and then you've just kind of finished it or matured it for 3 years in that Spanish Oloroso, and it is a very nice balance. That's probably what's making it so much a little bit, lighter and sweeter, and not letting that Oloroso dominate. Yeah, good point.
I wonder if Kim, the note that you were saying about the balance of it or how it defies the characteristics a little bit, but they're all still there. Maybe that's why they landed on Bonkers as the name, because it's not the expectation that they were looking for. Or
Yeah.
we before the stream started, we were talking about where the name came from and what our thoughts were on how they landed on Bonkers for something like this. And now tasting it again makes a little bit more sense.
Have you guys anybody added a drop of water yet? I did get a splash in mine my first round.
I will say, I mean, I haven't had it with the water yet, but it is very easy drinking.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah, very nice, palateful. And so some of the spices, though, are coming through a little bit more now, the cinnamons and nutmeg. I do like the leather. A little bit of sweet tobacco, not real strong.
whew.
Raspberries and blueberries for sure.
I feel like the water on the nose brings out the sweetness.
Yeah. Yeah. It's agitating it more for sure.
Max Kruger, Kim, is asking about your dropper.
I got it in Campbelltown.
Oh, all right. There was I did an event there this past week, and they have very similar styled glassware. And I was going to say, it wouldn't have surprised me if it came from Fine and Rare.
I love that. Tom says he doesn't add water, he adds white rum.
I didn't want to encourage him. I was.
I'm not one track mind.
We don't encourage it. Adding rum to whiskey, Tom.
So I think that on the palate, the which is maybe this to me is a little bonkers, is it makes it a little drier almost.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Not that that's worse.
No, but
Just-
interesting, because not what you usually get from it. This whiskey is so rad.
It's
Yeah.
definitely one that you can sit with and explore.
Definite more oak with it, with the water.
Yeah.
Like it makes it a bit more astringent, a little bit more drying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. When I tried this yesterday, I didn't know what it was, right? The bottle doesn't say what the cask is.
Yeah.
And I was fairly sure it had ex-bourbon for a while. And then I was fairly sure it was finished in either Oloroso. But when I added water and I got that drying quality, I was like, oh, maybe there's like a wine cask involved, because it all of a sudden got a little tannic, which Oloroso can be as well. But
Sure.
that's really a cool, I don't know that I've ever seen a whiskey get more dry when you add water.
It's really interesting that you say it that way, because like nosing it now, I'm starting to get like dark wine grape on it, like a Pinot or a Cab Sauv grape in the smell of it.
Yeah, like if you put a little funk into this, I think you could like pass it off as like a long row red, perhaps. When you add water.
Because there is that undertone of smoke in it, which is a weird thing given the distillery and given the finish. But
So a lot of times I have found with older whiskeys, when you add water and it brings out more of the oak, more of the astringency, usually it's a little bit older whiskey. It seems like, it sat in that cask so long that water kind of releases those oak tannins. And 15 probably being on the brink of that, getting into that little bit older age where that water releases those oak tannins and help them kind of soak in a little bit.
I swear it wasn't the power of suggestion that when Kim was saying all that, it was developing on my tongue. I'm like, oh, it's dried. It's dried.
that's just like you just throw a +1 on whatever Kim said.
Yeah.
Me too.
And Mamuka is pointing out that I actually like when sherry casks do not dominate and it's well balanced.
Yeah. I would say that's for you then, Mamuka. The sherry is just right here. It's just doing enough.
Me too.
Just show the details here again a little bit. 39.223 Bonkers, 15-year-old Speyside, deep, rich, and dried fruits. 12 years ex-bourbon hogshead. 3 years first fill ex-Oloroso Spanish oak hogshead. 58% ABV. $185 by lottery tomorrow.
Might this Scott be one of, or Kim or Max? Might this be one of the lighter Durdiffs that you've had? Out of curiosity.
No, it's medium. It's mid-level. I've had some lighter ones. Even one that I didn't realize was a Durdiff was in the sweet fruit and mellow profile.
All right.
Definitely not dark. Extreme Oloroso here. It's a good point. I really think this is a good look at Distillery 39 distillate with a little bit of a sherry maturation going on with it. So it's a nice balance.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is my first 39 Durdiff, and now I'm definitely going to have to be on the hunt for some more.
Isn't that always just the way?
It's terrible.
Just
Slowly grows the list of must-buys.
Well, I was going to say, just when you think you're out.
There you go. Max is definitely, we're going to have to lobby for Max to get that name on some SMWS bottling at some point.
They pull me right back in. Whenever a cannoli whiskey comes along, that's what we.
How does this, Max? How does this match your memory of it now? Then, now that you've spent some time with it,
I'm not going to feed you a line. I don't remember. I remember liking it a lot. I remember seeing the tasting notes, and I'm still, as I'm looking through this, I'm still searching for that umami soy sauce element, and I'm not seeing it as much. And so I wonder about the influence of 5 grams prior. Where the tastings used to be in New York was a pretty nice venue, but not a lot of great food around it. So I believe that night I showed up not having had dinner. So it's on the one hand, it's great to see that 5 dram Max knows what he's talking about. On the other hand, several months later, I could not say that he and I are the same person.
Well, I can personally attest. I've seen 5 dram Max, and 5 dram Max always knows what he's talking about.
Probably more so than 0 dram Max, but.
I'm on 2 rounds of water. I did add just a little bit more water to kind of see.
Yeah, I actually think it's better with a touch more. It's not quite as astringent.
I will say the overriding quality is it's like addictive. Like I've definitely taken more sips of this than I usually do at a tasting. Just kind of just keep going back to it.
Tough day at the office, Kim.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna have to pour some more. I have to crack the case. Wow.
Yeah, I say this a lot, and I get some slack for it, but but I believe a lot of our whiskeys that water really does help. And this is one. I'm almost in agreement. The mouthfeel has almost become expanded with even 2 rounds of water on it. I'm still pretty high ABV though. I'm still got to be around 50, low 50s. But it really did expand it. I don't know that it added, any notes that weren't there before, but even the finish is kind of clinging on more. And I think it did kind of get down that astringency, that oak a little bit.
I think this is lovely at every level.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like I could enjoy it neat. I could also enjoy it with a little water or a little more water. It's at no point has it turned into a whiskey I don't love. And it's different every time. I mean, that's what's so great about these cask strength whiskeys, right? It's like you can experience them in all different ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I do remember, which sounds awful to say it that way, at the end of the evening at the event, first of all, Charlie was super cool, and it was nice to see somebody whose entire everything about the man is neat. If you can pull off a bow tie, you've got some chops in my book. But everything about the event was educational. And then at the end of the evening, the fact that we tasted this last, but I believe that had the strongest scores of the night, spoke for something. It was really interesting. And I think that just to think about, it wasn't a propped up sort of thing. There wasn't a fakeness in terms of like, we know all of these are ready and we just want to give people a chance to try it. It really was a very interesting look into the process of, are these casks ready or not? And there were, I believe, 2 that we said these have potential and sent them back for more time or a different finish. There was 1 that we discarded, or the scores were low enough that it might get discarded. And then 2 that were at the high end of it at the end of the evening. And this scored highest, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah.
Was the objective to zero in on the one cask that would be the US exclusive? Was that the
It wasn't pick one. It was more, we have these samples and we're trying to see whether or not they're ready. And we could have wound up with 6 winners, but so it was Charlie and Tom and
Charlie McLean, by the way.
Charlie
I don't think we even said his name so far. Yeah, I should have at the first. Yeah, but Charlie McLean was involved in this process.
the monocled wonder.
Yeah.
I someday aspire to be able to have a mustache that punches at that weight and to be able to wear bow ties. But Tom was very clear at the start of it. We could have no casks that are worthwhile. We could have 6 casks that are worthwhile, but it's the experience of, this is something that we own and we don't know if it's ready yet. So let's give it a go. And there were a couple that were definitely ready, which we bottled this year, the 77 and the 39, and a couple that were sent back, and a 24 that was not well received.
Yeah.
Someone, AJM513 just commented that he hasn't had a bad bottle yet, and it's encouraging that some are discarded, and like that's what's so great about the SMWS, right? It's like you can just trust that what they're going to release is going to be really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And not necessarily that every bottle is everyone's favorite, but it's always going to be quality.
Yeah. I would go as far as to say this is one of the most impressive US exclusives that we've had. This is the one that I would be buying for sure.
I say that, all of our bottles are good. I mean, they're all, single run hits, right? Some are doubles, some are triples, and some are home runs. But I mean, they're all good whiskeys. We release some really good whiskeys, and I think our tasting panel does a great job, of selecting them and saying, yeah, this one's ready or this one's not ready. So
I think this is a great dram to get someone that is maybe only in the sherry camp, but curious about other places. I think this would be a great one for them.
Yeah.
Time plus water on this. Now I'm getting a little bit of like waxy notes on it from a nosing perspective.
I would have to say those since the beginning on the nose, getting the evergreen or kind of that pine note. I don't know that I've ever gotten it on the palate. Have you, Kim? I know I asked you just as you were taking a sip.
No.
Has there
No,
been?
actually, one of the thoughts I had yesterday was that there were things on the palate that didn't 100% match the nose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I equate that to being lighter a little bit, Scott, than, showing up as a menthol or anything like that. I think the lightness of it, if that makes sense, within the Durdiff bracket.
But it's not uncommon at the same time for something to be on the nose, that's not on the palate, or vice versa. So, but yeah,
I would say you're not let down by what the palate delivers, right? Sometimes when there's a misalignment and you're like, oh, you're underwhelmed or it doesn't deliver. I think it delivers more than the nose promises.
I don't think it's misaligned. It's just that there are parts of it that don't translate. But it's funny because I actually, Gregor was saying that this is one of his favorite US exclusives. This could have easily been like, not that the one that they released wasn't great, because it was, but this could easily have been like the autumn, US exclusive. Like, this is, to me, like, again, I talked about on the nose, like feeling like you're walking through a forest, and that's not totally translated into the palate, but this is, to me, like an amazing whiskey when it's like this weather out. I mean, I guess it depends on where you are in the US, but right now when it's like 40, 50, 30 degrees and the leaves are turning. Like, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like it. If sherry bombs are what you drink on Christmas Day, to your point, Kim, I think this is what you take in your hip flask for the New Year's Day walk when you go out into the forest.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a very Scottish influence on the conversation. I have never once taken a New Year's walk.
That's what
Well, maybe we should.
I was trying to remember the last New Year's walk I took through a forest.
Well,
Well,
typically in
didn't
Scotland,
happen.
you go first footing in Scotland, which is you try to be the first person over the door into your neighbour or a friend, and you take a lump of coal and you would take some whiskey so that there's a good time.
I think you just need, Scott, somewhere with leaves on the ground. That's all.
Yeah, that'll do.
I think you could get, I think that the fall notes of leaf pile are definitely in here.
Yeah.
On the nose and the palate, or nose?
Just nose.
Yeah.
I really want to find that soy sauce in this.
Yeah, I don't know if I get the umami. I'm still on marmalade
Yeah.
and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like 4 dram max is the good one.
GCAP was already calling you 5 dram max, so
Oh, that's going to stick.
I think he said he changed your name, so
I'll own it.
that's not bad. That's not a bad name. 5
Could be
dram.
worse. I've been called much, much worse.
All right. Well, hey, I think we've gone through it. We did it neat. We did it with some water, 2 rounds of water. We talked about the event a little bit. We got our Scottish accent in, and we got our New York Dirtiff professional involved. So, Gregor, thanks for joining us tonight.
Scott, Kim, Max, cheers. Thanks for the invite. It's amazing.
Cheers. Nice to see you guys.
Max, thanks for being able to jump in. Well, he's ready for the 6 dram max.
This is only 2, man.
Kim, thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. I like the extra Dirtiff palette along with me.
Scott, thanks for inviting us. Yeah,
Yes,
a really
thank
good time.
you. It's a
Yeah,
treat.
thank you.
You bet. And again, 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow by lottery, this will be available. And remember, Scotch Malt Whiskey Society whiskeys are not for swigging, glugging, or knocking back. Please drink responsibly. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.